Hi everyone, welcome to Module 3. I am in the module already, but I will show you again just in case if you need to know how to get there. Here we are at the home page, and you go into Modules, and then go to Module 3. Excuse me. The first thing you'll have are your objectives. And then you'll have an overview, which will contain all of your activities for this week. So you have a discussion board this week. The only reason there are not more assignments is because it is expected that during this time you are doing your community assessment. So the next thing, you'll be looking at public health core functions. There's a PowerPoint and there's videos on vulnerable populations. You need to continue working on your practicum site location. I know some of you have had trouble, and I need to continue to receive those emails about where you are. If you need a contract and you haven't gotten that in, the paperwork, McKendree starts the contract process, and it is lengthy because typically both organizations will have their lawyers review the contract, and you cannot start your practicum or turn it in until that's done. Also, your Castle Branch documents have to be completely caught up. So if you need a flu shot, the next 2 weeks is the time to start thinking about that. And then you will start assessing your community because next week, you're going to have it really begin. And this is one of your big assignments in here. And then the week after next, your practicum site is due. So let's go back to the assignments. For this, I'm sorry, let's go to content and I'll get back to the modules. I actually go to content, and then over here you can drop down and you can see for module 3, and then here are your assignments, which this week you have a discussion board, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you're going to look at the functions of public health and the concept of vulnerability. And you have 3 questions for your discussion. Overall, what did you learn about the definition of vulnerable populations? And then highlight and explain one vulnerable population that you are either unfamiliar with or feel are especially pertinent to the population you serve, and explain why you chose this. And how do the functions of public health impact the health and wellness of this population? So we know that homeless people are part of one of the vulnerable populations. So if you work in an ER, like in a large metropolitan city, or maybe even a small one, and you serve quite a number of homeless people, maybe you want to do a little more research about that and talk about that and look at what particular slices of the wheel in the functions of public health impact the wellness of this population. So that is it for this week. Let's look ahead at next week, just because I want you to know how big this assignment is. And you're going to be choosing a county of interest. And I'm saying the county because in the week after, you're going to be looking at data, and you only can get it on the county level. So I live in Alton. Let's say you want to assess Alton. It is in Madison County. So you're going to be using Madison County, but you will assess the city of Alton. So you're going to be using my population health project at the end of this, putting it all together. So the windshield survey has an attached form here that you're going to be using. And I think I went over it a little bit last week. And then the week after, you have an assignment from the county health rankings. And this is why you only had a discussion question last week and this week, so you can get busy on this. And then there's the census finder that you're going to use in this assignment. So you're going to have a county fact finder census data from these websites to answer a few questions, and you're still going to have to you're still going to have to do the windshield survey. So let's take a look at this a little bit more thorough. I think I went over it last week. So if it'll let me, here we go. All right. Here's your windshield survey form. Do any of you have that trouble where your computer's slower than your mind is? So I went over in the beginning of this, I went over the people last week. You're going to look at boundaries. So where's the community located? For example, Alton is a city of uh, so many thousand people in Madison County in Illinois. And the boundaries, if you Google your town, it'll give you the geographical boundaries if you get to the page. And are the boundaries natural, like rivers, hills, and are man-made? So obviously in Alton, I have the Mississippi River that is man-made. Are there geographic features that may cause harm or do risk? Yeah, the river floods almost every year, actually. And so if you live on a fault line, um, we remember years ago, well, you probably don't because you're too young, but about 20 years ago, we were supposed to have the big one. It was some December day in 1990. And then the built environment. What industries are present? Could the industries pose health risks? If you live in a if you have a coal mine in your town, we have a lot of industry. We have Shell Oil, and we have Clark, ConocoPhillips. And those are ripe for explosion. We also have the old Western Cartridge Company, which is now called Olin. I remember many explosions. My uncle was in an explosion when he cleaned a sump down there with gunpowder. So you're also going to are there well-marked bike paths? Are they used? And are sidewalks adequate for walking and or jogging? Is it safe for children to walk or ride their bicycle to school? And I want sentences in here. There may be times that it is safe and it may be times it's not. You may have areas that are safe and areas that are not, and you need to include this in your assessment of your city. Are pedestrian crossings well marked? Are parks accessible to residents and good repair? What activities are available? Are they used? And any other pertinent observations to the built environment that you notice, like you may notice that there's several municipal swimming pools. Um, Obviously, this is going to be different due to COVID, but do the best you can on this. Housing is very important. Um, does the housing appear safe? And please elaborate. So are you going through neighborhoods and the homes are brand new, they're on half an acre, the lawns are manicured, or are you going down streets where the windows are boarded up, houses need to be demolitioned, they need to be repaired? Do you have a lot of public housing? Do you have a lot of apartments side by side? So are the homes in good repair or poor repair? And think about, how does this impact health? Well, we all know from the coronavirus that the minority populations have had more coronavirus, and Chicago has had more than downstate. And I think it is because of the crowded living conditions in which many of them live. So, are vacant houses present? Are services accessible in the neighborhoods, grocery stores, or are they in a food desert where they live in a neighborhood, they typically don't have cars? You see this in larger cities most often, but it happens even in smaller areas to where people don't have a way to get around, but yet you'll have a small little bodega or 7-Eleven or whatever, and there's groceries there, but it's not fresh fruits and vegetables, and they're sky high. And any other pertinent observations that you have to housing. And then we will go over the rest of this next week. Please start working on this, and I hope you have a good week. Remember, I am here to answer all of your questions or any of your questions. Text me, call me, email me. Have a good week. Thank you.